What do I do with my hands?
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Do you have any of those people in your life that are constantly trying to give you advice? Like you're just having a conversation with them and maybe you bring up something you're trying to get better at. So you say, you know, I'm trying to be a better husband. And immediately they come at you with some tips. Really ridiculous tips like, oh, you should implement a weekly date night or never go to bed angry. Like, are you serious? My life is a little more nuanced than that. Today I'm going to talk to you about looking someone in the eye, deeply listening to them, and helping lead them to self-discovery and action. Instead of offering advice, has someone ever come to you just with a brutal truth? And you know it's true, but it still hurts. Like, hey Josh, you're looking a little bit pudgier than usual. You don't know me. You don't know how difficult it is to be Josh Ramsey. Yes, I'm a little bit overweight, but maybe there's reasons for it. Don't judge me. Weight loss is always one that fat people love to give advice on. If you're anything like me, you probably respond to the tips with annoyance and to the truth with offense. We all want to improve, but we want a connection. We want to know that the person giving us advice and the truth is seeing things through our eyes, understanding our perspective as they help us get better, and that they're not pushing their own agenda. In order to be a decent manager, you need to get in the mind of your team member. Some of this comes from asking the right questions, but I think that there's something much, much deeper than that, and it's just from one simple thing I'll encourage you to start trying. Look people in the eye. I get in the elevator every day, and most of the time no one will look at me in the eye. I think that partially that's because of my mustache, but mostly because everyone's in their own world. They're looking at their phone, they're thinking about what's happening next. They're not making eye contact with other people. And if you start paying attention to this around you, you'll see that most people avoid eye contact. There's this English proverb, the eyes are the window to the soul. If you look into someone's eyes, I think that it's a chance for you to see through their eyes. It's so easy to judge people and prescribe solutions to them until you look at things through their eyes. And then all of a sudden, you're like, I get it now. I understand why you do the things you do. Let's be honest. With every team member you have, you probably have a really long list of things you would like them to change. But if you just give them that advice, it's gonna go in one ear and out the other. I'm just gonna walk through a few questions that you could ask your team members to help lead them to self-discovery. When you were with that customer, when did you feel like you were at your best? And then as they answer that, you can validate by saying, you know, I was watching the customer and I saw how they lit up. You could also ask someone, if you could do this project over again, what would you do differently? You could also ask somebody, what do you think is holding you back from getting 100%? So these are all questions that you're asking your team member to figure out for themselves, and then you help back them up. This is a completely different approach than if you prescribe action, they do it because you told them, and they don't change. This is about helping them improve themselves. So stop prescribing actions and help lead your team members to self-discovery. All right, so a couple of points to just help with learning empathy. Read fiction. If you don't read books anymore, you should get on that. Watch documentaries. Find chances to practice the art of putting yourself in someone else's shoes. My call to action to you this week is to find someone that you're relatively close with and look at them in the eyes until you feel something. Next week, we're going to talk about setting really high expectations for your team. And I think it's so important that you figure out how to help people come alive, and then you look at them through the eyes of empathy, and that's when you come in with really high expectations, right? You can't have high expectations of excellence without having empathy. So in closing, can I just ask you to stop giving people advice? Help them do what they already want to do. And that's how you and I can become a decent manager.